Lastly, we are going to talk about how do I use assertive discipline in the classroom and how do I get support from the administration to use assertive discipline. So to use assertive discipline, first you want to decide what rules and expectations that you want to implement in your classroom. Keep it simple and easily understandable. And when I was doing some research on assertive discipline, they recommend about 4 to 5 expectations, but you could use about 3 if you're implementing this in a lower grade level, like elementary school. Next, you want to determine the negative consequences. They call this discipline hierarchy, which is your consequence is more punitive than the next. So your first negative consequence might be just telling the student to stop. The next consequence would be getting written up with a demerit. The last consequence could be going to the principal's office. That's just an example. So each consequence is essentially worse than the one before. And they recommend to have about 3 to 6 negative consequences. And again, I think this depends on the age level that you're implementing this program with. Next, you are going to determine the positive consequences. So some examples are verbal praise, doing raffle tickets for daily or weekly prize drawings, and a group reward could be every time someone does something good and positive, you can drop a marble into a jar. And when the jar is full, then the class gets a special reward or an event, a pizza day, a movie day. Those are just some examples. Continuing on how to use assertive discipline. Next, you will list the rules on the board or somewhere visible in the classroom along with all of the positive and negative consequences. You will have a meeting to tell the students what the program is so that they're completely aware of it. You explain why the rules are needed. You practice, practice, practice. So we can't just assume that the students know exactly what we're talking about. You want to have them practice with examples and non-examples. And then you check for understanding, not just when you teach them, but also periodically throughout the year to make sure that they're keeping up with it and that they continue to understand what the rules and expectations are. Next, you will have the students write down the rules themselves and they will take them home to be signed by their parents and guardians. And with the rules that they write themselves, you can attach a message explaining the program and asking for their help to make it successful. And then lastly, implement the program immediately. Do not wait. You can do this right from the beginning of the school year. The last thing I'm going to cover quickly is how to get support from the administration to implement assertive discipline. First, you want to create a document that outlines all of your rules and all of your consequences. So a detailed plan about your expectations and how you plan to handle student behavior, both in a positive way and when they're acting in a negative way. Then you're going to schedule an appointment with the dean of students, the assistant principal, the principal. It's pretty much whoever is in charge of student discipline in your school district. So I think this can vary. You will present your plan and you want to ask for feedback because maybe you missed something, maybe something goes against the school policy. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything that the administration would support, and constructive feedback is always a good thing, especially when you're teaching. So then you're going to work together with whoever you're meeting with and create a system where you can address the misbehavior in your classroom and know that you have the full support of the school administration to back you up.